This is DieCast Street League. And I'm Roy. Roy, I hope you are feeling good. I'm good. I hope you haven't had any bean burritos. It's top of the B class finals round 4. I cannot wait. Me either, Roy. I'm expecting craziness. Well, all the races before this one was crazy. Yeah, Roy, they were. Well, why would this be any different? Welcome back. This is DieCast Street League. We are here in Rock City. It is a beautiful 79-degree day. It's great for racing. I would have to agree. This is a top of the B class round 4 finals. Finals, baby. Whoever wins this race will go on as the top of the B class champion. He will get all the bragging rights and cash money. About 10 grand. Let's get to these cars. 2010 Ford Shelby GT500 driven by Brock. 1,000 horsepower. 2018 Dodge Challenger SRT Demon driven by Morgan. 1,000 horsepower. 1990 Mazda RX-7 driven by Jalen. 800 horsepower. 2020 Ford Mustang Shelby GT500 driven by Chris Hood. 900 horsepower. Those are the cars and drivers that will be putting it all on the line for our viewing pleasure. I'm gonna have to thank them. Okay, we're going the best out of 8 races wins. First place gets 2 points, second place gets 1. Okay. Third place will get a half point. This is the 4th round, the final, so expect these drivers to go all out. Let's go. Jalen has the lead going down the first long straight. Chris Hood is in second place. Morgan is trying to challenge Chris for his second place position. Couldn't get it done. Jalen has the first place on lock if he keep it straight, and he will. Oh, Chris just got passed up by Morgan right at the line. He is known for doing that. That Morgan is known for passing you up at the line like a young man passing a senior citizen up at the checkout line at the grocery store. Jalen had the lead going down that first long straight. Chris Hood was in second place. Morgan tried to pass on the outside right there, but Chris Hood was having none of that. Morgan tried to pass him, but Chris Hood held him off. Meanwhile, Jalen had a free shot at the first place position, and Chris Hood had the second place position, so he thought. Then here come Morgan with that late disrespectful pass for Chris' second place position. Why does he always do that? Jalen got a 14.86 time. Morgan almost hit that pole right there. Roy, I think he's gonna do whatever he has to do to get the best position he can get. Looks like Chris Hood thought about getting in his lane, but thought otherwise. That car has a lot of horsepower and it is heavy. I wouldn't do it. Me either. The RX-7 has 2. The Shelby has a half point. The Demon has 1. The GT500 has 0. Race 2 about to go down. My money's on the Demon. Let's go. Brock has a slight lead going down that first long straight. Chris Hood just took the lead from him. Oh, Jalen is trying to get the second place position away from Brock. He crashed out and Morgan just passed Brock for his second place position. He's trying to catch Chris Hood, can he? Oh, he cannot do it this time. Now, that race was entertaining right there. Yes, it was, Roy. They were going at it. We already got some pushing and shoving. That's expected. It's just like 5th grade all over again up in here. Jalen had a slight lead coming out of that first turn, but it didn't last long because Chris Hood passed him up right there, and Jalen took the second place, but then Brock took the second place position back, and then Jalen tried to take it but spun out and crashed.
And then Morgan passed Brock on the inside for the second place position.
Yes, he did. Roy caught him on the inside right there, drove in his lane so he couldn't pass him back up.
And then Morgan was trying to catch Chris Hood, but Chris Hood was gone.
I don't know, Roy. He almost got him right there at the line once again.
A little more room and he would have got him.
Chris Hood got a 15-19 time.
It seemed like Chris Hood got that Shelby running good. Wait, there is a GT500 and a Shelby? This is confusing. Is that not the same car?
RX-7 has 2, the Shelby has 2.5, the Demon has 2, the GT500 has a half point. Race 3 about to go down right now. Let's go. Jalen has the lead going down that first long straight. Chris Hood is on his bumper. Oh my God, he is bumping him, trying to get around him. Oh, Morgan just passed up Chris Hood for his second place position. He is trying to catch Jalen. Can he get it done? No, Jalen would hold him off for the first place victory. Morgan and the Demon would take second place. Chris Hood would take third.
Now that's what I am talking about. I like seeing all that rough play.
You do not like clean racing, do you, Roy?
Is that a rhetorical question or something?
You figure it out. Jalen had the lead going on the first long straight. Chris Hood was exactly on that man's bumper coming out of Shark's mouth.
You can tell Chris Hood got more horsepower. He was just trying to get around Jalen any way he could.
Power is only half the battle. You have to get around the car in front of you. Morgan and the Demon did just that. He passed up Chris Hood, had his eyes on Jalen in that RX-7, but Jalen broke free right there. But then Morgan, with all that horsepower, closed the gap real fast, but couldn't get around Jalen.
Jalen held him off for the first place victory, got a 15-second time.
It seems like when Jalen gets in front, he is not giving that lead up for anything.
He has the least amount of horsepower, but that man can drive that Mazda, I'm telling you that.
Jalen and the Mazda has 4, Chris Hood and Shelby has 3, Morgan and the Demon has 3, Brock and the GT500 has a half point. Race 4 about to go down. Let's go. Chris Hood has the lead coming out of that first turn. Jalen is all on his bumper coming out of Shark's mouth. He has a little room to breathe. Oh, Jalen's crashing to him, and Brock just passed them up both for the first place victory. And Chris Hood just took that right back from Brock right at the line. Nasty.
At the beginning, when you said they are putting it all on the line for our viewing pleasure,
yeah,
that there is actually true. They're out here pushing and bumping like a 10-year-old driving a Hummer in Walmart parking lot.
It is the finals, Roy. Chris Hood had the lead going down the first long straight. Jalen was on his bumper coming out of Shark's mouth. He was still on his bumper, but Chris had a little room to breathe.
And then Chris Hood slid out, and Brock got right past him on the inside for the first place position. You see it right there.
Brock did capitalize on Chris Hood's mistake and took his first place position, but Chris Hood had the second place. He was trying to get that position back, got door to door with Brock and blew past him for the first place position.
And then Morgan passed up Jalen for the third place half point right at the end.
Chris Hood got a 14.33 time.
That's not a bad time for B class.
No, Roy, it's not a bad time at all.
I just said that. Why are you repeating things that I've already said?
I was just saying.
Yeah, something I just said.
The RX-7 has 4, the Shelby has 5, the Demon has 3.5, the GT500 has 1.5. Race 5 about to go down. Let's go! Jalen has the lead going down that first long straight. Chris Hood is in second place. Morgan and the Demon is in third. Chris Hood is trying to catch Jalen. Can he catch him? Oh, he just passed up Jalen for his first place position, and Morgan just passed up Jalen as well for the second place. Nasty pass.
Jalen got passed up twice
Yep, he did.
right in the last turn. How unfortunate is that?
Well, Roy, anytime you get passed twice when you think you're about to win a race, that's unfortunate.
I just said that.
Morgan had to leave for a quick second, then Jalen passed him up and Chris Hood passed him up as well. Chris Hood was trying to catch Jalen, but Jalen had a 2-car lead coming out of that third turn. I thought he was gonna gap him, but then Chris Hood passed him on the inside right there, nasty. Morgan passed him as well.
Chris Hood nudged Jalen and then got him out of position and took the inside lane, and then Morgan passed him up as well. That is not good if your name is Jalen.
Chris Hood got a 13:19 time. That is the best time of this race series. That is a great time for B class, almost 12 seconds.
That is one of the better times I've seen in the B class.
These cars are at the top of the top. They got the skill and the speed to go with it. The RX-7 has 4.5, the Shelby has 7, the Demon has 4.5, the GT500 has 1.5. Race 6 about to go down. Let's go. Brock got a slight lead coming out of the first turn. Chris Hood just passed him up. Oh, Brock passed up Chris Hood. Now Chris Hood just passed him back up. And Jalen passed Brock up for a second place and then passed Chris Hood up for the first. Brock crashed and Chris Hood held everybody up. 3-car D and F. Jalen has the first place victory. Nobody else scored.
Holy crap. Now that was the best race I've ever seen, hands down.
I would have to agree with you, Roy. That was crazy. Brock had the lead coming out of that first turn. Chris Hood passed him up. Coming out of Shark's mouth, Brock had that lead back. Then Chris Hood took it back from Brock. Nasty. See it right there? And then Jalen passed up Brock for a second place position. Tried to get around Chris Hood right there and got it done.
Jalen passed up Brock on the inside and then bumped Chris Hood, got him out of his position and passed him up for the first place.
And then Brock crashed into Chris Hood, held everybody up. Jalen got a free run at the first place. It didn't matter because he was gapping him about 5 cars anyway. Jalen got a 14.55 time. The RX-7 has 6.5. The Shelby has 7. The Demon has 4.5. The GT500 has 1.5. Race 7 about to go down. Jalen got a slight lead going down that first long straight. Chris Hood is all on his bumper. Can he get around Jalen? He's bumping. He is trying to get around him. He cannot. Jalen is doing everything he can to hold him off. Brock is coming on the inside and tried to pass him right at the line. But Brock got second place. Jalen got first place.
Now that is what I am talking about. Do whatever to get that victory. You seen Brock on the inside putting it all on the line just to get second place.
He did put it all on the line, doing about 180 just to get the second place position. Jalen had the first place right there. Chris Hood was in second, all on his bumper, trying to get around him. Jalen was fending him off, switching lanes so he couldn't pass.
Jalen is playing defense like the Green Bay Packers out here.
That's facts. He has less horsepower than everybody, so he has to play defense. Brock was on the inside lane trying to challenge him right at the line. You see it right there. He was doing about 170 trying to pass at the line. Jalen got a 14.02 time.
Not bad.
He is playing defense. Once he get in front, it is over. He is shutting the door.
Are you saying he waits to shut his door until he gets in front?
Absolutely not, Roy. That's ridiculous. That's dangerous and it's not good for aerodynamics.
This is a close race series.
Chris Hood needs 1 point and hope Jalen doesn't score any. The RX-7 has 8.5. The Shelby has 7.5. The Demon has 4.5. The GT500 has 2.5. Let's go. Chris Hood has the lead coming out of that first turn. Jalen is in second place. Brock is in third. Jalen trying to catch Chris Hood. Can he? He bumped him, but Chris Hood kept it straight. Morgan is in the second place position. Oh my God, Jalen just took the second place position away from Morgan right at the line.
Jalen needed that second place position just to stay alive because Chris Hood just got the first place. It would have been over if Jalen would have got that third place.
Yes, it would have been Roy, but instead it is a tie. We have an extra race.
I am so excited. This is a crazy race series.
Let's get to this replay. You see, Chris Hood had the lead. Jalen was in second place. Brock was in third. Coming out of Shark's mouth, it was that exact same order. Chris Hood had a little room. They both spun out right there. Brock bumped Jalen.
And then Morgan passed up Brock for the third place position.
Chris Hood had a free shot at the first place. He needed that just to stay alive. I thought it was over because Jalen was in third place, but then he managed to get Morgan right at the line for the second place position.
Man, second place was a battle. Morgan was trying to get that second place position away from Jalen. He got it away, and then Jalen took it back from him.
Chris Hood got a 13.95 time.
Not bad.
Jalen was 1 point ahead of Chris Hood. Chris Hood needed at least 1 point just to tie. He got first place. He got 2 points. Jalen got second place, got another point. They are tied.
I am so excited.
The RX-7 has 9.5. The Shelby has 9.5. The Demon has 5. The GT has 2.5. Tiebreaker race. Chris Hood and Jalen will battle it out. Chris Hood has the better time, so he will start in the inside lane. Let's go. Chris Hood has the lead going down the first long straight. Coming out of Shark's mouth, he has about a 6-car lead. Stumbled just a little bit. Jalen is closing the gap. Can he get around Chris Hood? Bring that back. Chris Hood has the lead. Jalen is in hot pursuit. He has about a 6-car lead. Spun out. Jalen is closing the gap. Can he get around Chris Hood right here on the long straight? Yes, he passed Chris Hood up for the first place victory, and that is game, set, and match. Jalen is the B-class champion.
That was a heck of a tiebreaker race right there.
Yes, it was.
I didn't think Jalen was going to be able to pass Chris Hood because you know Chris Hood got that horsepower.
I didn't think he was going to get around him either, but he got it done. That's all that matters. Chris Hood put up a valiant fight, but ended up losing to Jalen in that green RX-7.
Who would have thought the little import was going to win this?
Not me, Roy. Jalen is the B-class champ. He won these finals. He's been running like a boss all day long. Congrats to him. Chris Hood came in a very, very close second. I mean, very close. 1 point. All right?
That is close.
They will be at the top of the B class coming into the next season. We have 2 races left in the A class. We have 1 more third round race in the A class. After that, we on to the finals.
Let's go.
Thanks for watching DieCast Street League. Please like, subscribe, share, hit the bell for all post notifications. Only if you want to, but please do.
It is free.
Let's go.